Hi, my name is AlbertoAlcantara, and I am in Darren Schneider's Advanced Session Recording class, and this is my producer podcast. In this podcast, I will be talking about Phil Spector. Phil Spector is one of those few producers that really don't need any introduction, and I don't need to say much about him so that you know who he is. He has worked on most of the bigger albums in history, most of the biggest songs in history, like Let It Be from the Beatles, or Benny King songs. He even co-wrote one of Benny King's songs called Spanish Harlem. But he is most famous by his producing technique called the wall of sound. And what is a wall of sound? The wall of sound basically consists of layering a bunch of instruments that wouldn't normally be layered together in like certain genres of music. For example, he used to layer a lot, like maybe, for example, five guitars, and that would give the sound of the record or the song like a huge sound. Like it would give it a more fuller, a more richer sound. And this is what distinguished him from every other producer at that time because no one ever did this before. So whenever someone would hear one of his songs, they would immediately recognize that it was a Phil Spector song because it had such this huge sound, this big sound that no one was really used to hearing. And he started this out very early in his career, but before that, he had started music at a very young age by playing guitar at age 16. Eventually, he started being tutored by co-owner of Gold Star Studios in Hollywood, Stan Ross, in producing and recording. This helped and influenced Phil Spector's production style immensely. After this, he soon worked with the Teddy Bears on one of their songs. He got a number one hit on the Billboard Hot 100 chart with a song he wrote that is called "To Know Him Is to Love Him." This was basically his first like great hit and what made him like not super famous, but it started out his career pretty well. After meeting Lester Seal, Lieber and Stoller's mentor, Seal managed for Spector to meet the famed producing duo in New York. Lieber and Stoller was one of the most famous and largest producing duos at that time. They produced basically everyone when Phil Spector was just starting out. Thanks to this, he quickly learned how to use a studio and how to work in one, something that Phil Spector hadn't previously learned before. He was basically just learning on his own and he hadn't got any studio time really. Like he just produced everything. He really didn't know how to work in a studio or how to use one. So thanks to Lester Seal and Lieber and Stoller, he managed to learn it pretty quickly. He even got to co-wrote one of Benny King's songs at one point called Spanish Harlem. Phil Spector has worked with artists such as John Lennon, George Harrison, the Ramones, Benny King, Leonard Cohen, the Beatles, like so many artists. And if you ever hear one of a song produced by Phil Spector, you would know instantly that that's one of his songs. It's just such a characteristic sound, the wall of sound. Like it is a huge sound thanks to all the layering he does, and people to this day still try to imitate or at least try to make it sound more like his sound, like the wall of sound. And most people don't get it too often. It's a very characteristic and distinct sound, so it's not something people can just imitate and do. But yeah, that's basically Phil Spector and everything he has done. He is to this day he's still one of the most influential and best producers out there. Uh, they will and he will still be forever one of the most still be coveted one of the, as the most influential producers of our time. Well, not of our time, 1960s, but uh, yeah, it's difficult to put a pin on Phil Spector. He is a one of a kind guy, and he like right now he's not basically producing anything. He's in jail for conviction of murder or something. I'm not sure, but he will always be remembered as a producer he was, and from many years to come, he will be seen as this great producer for forever. And that's it. Thank you for watching.